Uh, Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Hour. We're now looking at faction focus for Kingdom of Bretonnia, for Warhammer the Old World, and we're now into the character comparison charts. We're going to look and see how they all stack up. So let's see the table. So we've got Duke, Baron and Paladin, Prophetess, Damsel and Sergeant at Arms. Only 6 characters. The comparison really ends up here looking at, you've got your different ones, right? So you've got your Duke, Baron, Paladin, and kind of Sergeant at Arms, and you've got your 2 casters, which are very different roles. So we look at the Duke, you just see how great the Duke is. Yes, he's the most expensive in points. He's 75 more points than a Baron. But look at his weapon skill 7, strength 5, toughness 4, 4 wounds. So, he's top on weapon skill, top on strength, top on wounds, 5 initiative, joint with the Baron, and 9 leadership. This armor save is about the same. So, but you can see there across the board, the Duke is excellent. The one downside with the Duke is actually the Grail Vow, because it limits his flexibility. If you had the option to purchase the Grail Vow, you could then build your army around it. Whereas at the moment, the Duke comes with the Grail Vow, which means he can only join units of Grail Knights or be out on his own. So you've really got to think about, if you're taking a Duke, you've then got to build around taking a Duke and either putting him in a unit of Grail Knights or running him round on his own. Whereas the Baron, who, doesn't have that much worse stats, but, you're losing an attack, you're losing a wound, you're losing the strength, the weapon skill, that all counts in terms of the combat. So, but you gain a bit of flexibility from it. So the Paladin, you've still got the good weapon skill, but the 2 wounds is a bit of an issue, losing a bit of leadership there. So that's why for me the Paladin, really works as, if I'm taking him, it's for a battle standard bearer role predominantly. If I was building a character killer, the 2 wounds would be an issue for me. Like if you're going for that Morningstar Fracas kind of combo with the the enemy can't refuse a challenge, 3 attacks. I'd really want to be using a Baron to do that, I think. Prophetess, Damsel, they're pretty standard for casters, standard wounds. Don't want them in combat, no armor save, all that stuff. So there's not really much to say with them. The Sergeant at Arms is an interesting one here because he's the cheapest one there. He comes in at like about 45 points. He's only got a 5+ save. His leadership's only 7, and so he's only got 1 more leadership than a normal man at arms, right? Which is leadership 6. So that's where you've got to think: are you going to get the value from him at all, right? So because when I say leadership 6, don't forget that's taken into account the champion, right? The champion's leadership 6, the men at arms are 5. So you're getting +1 leadership for this 45-point model, and your basic man at arms comes in at 4 points a model, right? So I could have 10, or I could have 11 man at arms for the cost of the sergeant at arms. I don't think he offers enough to make him worth 11 men at arms models, right? Which represents 11 wounds. He comes with 2. This guy is not durable in the first place, and in men at arms, I think your durability comes from number of bodies. So I just don't think he does enough to make him worth taking. Is my personal view on the sergeant at arms. So yeah, for me, a level 4 and a level 2, and then a Duke or a Baron, and then a Paladin as a battle standard bearer, kind of like a default, and then kind of building around that. So there you go. That's the character comparison. Next up, we're going to be looking at the cavalry comparison. There's not much point looking at infantry comparison because you're only comparing men at arms with Knights of the Realm on foot. So yeah, but there's lots of cavalry to look at, so we can look at the different cavalry units. There's only 1 war machine, so no point looking at that either. Hope you found this video useful there. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. Hit the subscribe button. It's free for you to do. It takes a few seconds. Please do it. It's a big deal. You've been watching The Ghost Hour. Tune back in as we take a look at the different Bretonnian cavalry.